So today I got my hands on the upcoming MMORPG Project Air, also known as Air Ascent Infinite Realm. Now this is not my first time trying this game, but it is my first time trying the version for the Thailand region. And to sum up my experience playing this version of the game versus the Korean region client is that it was night and day. If you guys are familiar with my previous videos on Air, you'd know I had a few issues with the game. Previously, I held back some of my issues because I didn't want to jump the gun and instead focus more on a showcase of character creation and the introduction. But after some time and thinking, the more and more I rewatched gameplay, I decided to speak out about what I saw as a Bless Online clone, and we all know how bad the PC version of Bless was. The Korean client of Air looked and felt like a reskin. The UI was damn near identical, the animations were similar, the movement, everything felt like I was playing Bless. And I wondered, I was like, did they just buy assets and recolor things, add a few ships and call it a new game? But several months later, here we are, with a new client for Thailand, which I would assume is mainly for testing purposes. Who knows if they'll try to milk the people in this region, but it was an entirely different experience from what I played before. The UI has been reworked, some things still look similar, but this time around, if it was my first time seeing this game, I would have made no comparisons to Bless. The main issue I had with the previous version was the optimization. That can kill a game early on if the cash shop doesn't, and before, it was bad. This time, it was smooth as hell. It wasn't perfect, but it ran way better than many MMOs a bunch of us play today. So this video won't be a showcase or let's play, although you'll be seeing gameplay in the back, but more of a first impressions in the old way I used to do them. We're just going to focus on discussing my experience with the game. So before, I only made it through the introduction because I played the game a little late as the short beta was about to end. But with this version, the beta has no end date. Mind you, you need a key to access it, and shout out to Extract for the hookup because without him this video would not be possible. Originally I had planned to play for several hours and then rush out a video because I'm genuinely excited to share my good experience with this game this time around, but I'm able to bring you guys this video even earlier because after a short break, as I relogged, the game went into maintenance. This time around, the character customization is still the same for the most part. Extremely detailed, and there's a lot of depth to creating your character. Think of Black Desert. The classes weren't gender locked this time around, and that's definitely a plus. And I also see that they changed the introduction. Some people might miss the old one, where you started as a child version of your character in this solo-like instance that seemed more story focused, but now the whole kid version of you is gone, and you jump right into a world that feels very much alive, and I like this so much better. Flying and mounted combat is a huge part of this game, and with this new introduction, you get introduced to flying early on, with a baby dragon mount. I don't know if this is race specific, but throwing you right into the action right away with other players, it's just a much better experience in my opinion. I feared that the mounted combat would be shit. I wasn't a fan of Riders of Icarus, but in this game, mounted combat for the most part is the same as ground combat from what I experienced, and what I mean is that using the same skills you would on the ground are pretty much the same, except you'll be doing them from your mount, backflipping on its back, shadow stepping and having your mount port with you. I really liked this because now it's pretty much like fighting in the air, the same way combat feels in Arcade when fighting underwater. Now there were different kinds of mounts like an airship I got to ride in, but we'll discuss that in a bit. But with that ship, it had its own set of skills. My guess is that mounts and ships will be different. Using a ship will have skills while mounts lets you fight as yourself, or maybe you'll get mount skills later down the line. I don't know if it's the crazy amount of coffee I drank to prepare myself for several hours of gameplay, but the game and combat never felt boring, and they must have reworked the combat because I don't remember it not being a bore fest. Now, the combat is a hybrid. It might promote itself as action combat, I'm not sure if that's true, but it still feels kind of tab targety because you can't just spam skills out of the blue. It still focuses on hitboxes, and I've had people ask if it compares to Terra. No, it does not. It compares more to Revelation Online, but also this could be just because I played an assassin. But back to the subject of optimization, just what have they done? I don't know what they did, but it ran so well, and this game looks gorgeous. I'm not really a fan of this whole steampunk theme or flying little airships, but I am a fan of this game and I can get past that. Your questing was pretty generic, go here and go there, but I didn't feel that dread of back and forth long distance questing. And there's also auto pathing, but I rarely ever used it. How about the story? I really didn't know what the hell was going on because everything is in Thai. But to my surprise, a lot of this game has been translated to English, and I'm talking about the text. Even some of the skills, and this is without an English patch. Another thing I discovered about this game this time around is access to a separate skill set. So as you level, you gain access to a second set of skills. For example, the mage will gain new elemental abilities by swapping with the tab key, which you can do at any time. The assassin, which is the class I'm playing, got access to projectiles, ninja stars, shuriken, throwing objects that gave me access to ranged abilities, which was awesome and definitely worked in my favor with certain fights. I was really hoping to get another dungeon in before this Impressions, but that wasn't really possible with the maintenance. But the first one was a really cool introduction to dungeons. It was a solo experience, but you get to fly an airship and shoot these demon bats down with a machine gun, and then you unmount and fight a boss on land. Now this tells me that dungeons will probably be interactive, having you use gunships, swapping between different types of combat, so I'm actually really excited to see what this game has to offer with future content. My only issues with the game were dodging mechanics. Maybe I couldn't find it, or maybe my only dodge was a forward dash. I have no clue, but with my ping, or maybe it's just the game, sometimes trying to dodge didn't always work, even if it seemed like I made it out of the circle or telegraphs. It didn't bother me too much, and I kind of expected playing a game located in Thailand, but yeah, that was really my only issue. And the game has an amazing soundtrack as well. Now maybe this time around I like the game much more because several months have passed and people change over time, and maybe because I get to try more of the game out. I don't know how different the content is now from back then. I can assure you though, a big part of me liking the game now is the optimization, and it seems like the combat or classes have been reworked. The Griffin riding experience early on in this game is a good comparison of how it was running back then. One thing I'm excited for with this game is faction versus faction. This is my favorite kind of PvP. This opens many opportunities like contesting world bosses, castle sieges, etc. And I also forgot that this game will have a housing system. The cash shop doesn't seem to be up yet, but there is a housing section, customization for the roof, interior, outer walls, and floor. It all looks to be there. So having housing is going to be a feature of this game, and decorating will also be a thing. So if all goes well with this game and we get a similar version to the build that we have here for the Thai client, I actually think this game will be really successful unless they get greedy with the cash shop. And obviously this is based on my first impressions. I have no idea what the end game is like, but if we're basing it off my first impressions, I do think this game will be successful. And if any of the devs or future publishers are watching this, have you not learned at this point? You can tease us or pull us in with amazing cosmetics, awesome costumes and accessories, housing decorations, take notes from Final Fantasy XIV's cash shop. You can even tie revenue into the initial business model. But please, for the love of God, many people will be looking forward to this game. Do not fuck it up. So with all that being said, guys, this has been my early first impressions experience with Ascent Infinite Realm. I have no clue if my previous Air rant is still public, but after this experience, I'll remove it or private it because it doesn't represent the game in its current state. This was an entirely different experience, and I'm super happy I got to try it out this time around. So if you guys want more Air content or updates or like Let's Plays, I actually don't mind covering this game more. Just let me know in the comments. And if any of you are wondering the VPN that I use, it will be linked down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will catch you all in the next one. See you soon, friends.